Well, howdy, folks. How's it going today? I hope you're all doing really good. Well, that's over with. Thank goodness. What we're looking at here is a John Scofield Signature Edition made by Ibanez. This is a very nice guitar right here. A lot of fun to play, and it sounds amazing too as well. This has the Super 58 pickups in it. If you've never checked these out, you might want to give those a listen. They really do sound amazing. Love those pickups. So it's basically got the 335 kind of setup with a three-way, and it also has a three-way here with this mini toggle, okay? And what that does, it affects the front pickup, so you have series and parallel on the outside of the switch, and in the middle it actually turns this into a single coil. At least that's what I read. I can't really discern all that just by ear when I'm playing it, but that's what it does supposedly. I don't mess with it too much. I usually stay right on the main toggle and just let that kind of go. But anyway, it plays really well, like I said, sounds well. Look at the thickness of that fretboard, guys. I mean, this thing's built like a tank. It's got a pretty substantial neck on it, too. It's not humongous, but kind of feels like an older Les Paul would. But it does feel good, and it's really easy to play. Nice inlays, too. I love the inlays. They did a good job putting those in as well. It's got a matte kind of finish, which is cool too. I don't mind that. Kind of aged binding, yellowed, what have you. What we're going to do today on this is change the strings. This has 10s on it. I'm going down to 9s because that's what I play. So these ones have really served their course. They got some pretty good kinks in the backs here from the fret wire. And, that affects the tuning as well. It does not play hard with 10s on it. I do want to add that for all you guys that play 10s. It plays really well. I just prefer 9s, and that's my thing. So we're going to get the strings off at first, and we're going to check the neck relief real quick, too, before we do that. Okay, so we've got the notch straight edge out here. Now I can measure it and tell you what it is, and I can also kind of bring you down here so you can see the gaps under them, okay? Now that should be solid when the neck is straight. There should be no daylight in underneath that straight edge. So it's got quite a bit of forward bow and relief in it. Nothing too substantial, but I'm not going to adjust the truss rod just yet on this, though, because I am going down a gauge. So that's going to produce a lot less tension here, which I found a lot of times when you do that, it will kind of just relax the neck on its own from less pull, and you won't get so much relief and forward bow. So we'll try that first, and we'll see what it does, and if I have to make some adjustments, I will. I'd also like to add, I like a pretty flat neck. 3 or 4 thousandths clearance is pretty good with me. I play light strings. I don't play really hard with my left hand. It's usually my right that's victim there. All right, let's get the strings off. Well, we might as well check the height here at the 12th fret before we take them off. To me, with a magnifying glass, it's about 8/64 on the bass here. It's pretty handy on the treble, maybe a little less, but that's enough. That's a little tall for me, so we'll see what happens, like I said. When we go down a gauge, that may relax the neck enough to drop some of that out. All right, strings are coming off. Okay, here we go. Not a lot of wraps around these, but it was staying in tune pretty good, so apparently it doesn't require a ton. I always have to do that. Sometimes I can't remember which way to go when I switch sides. Anybody else? You'd think I would be able to do that in the dark as much as I do this, but I don't know. All right. Well, somebody has been kind enough to do the luthier's knot, I guess you call it. It wasn't me, but not a big fan. I've never tied a knot in a string in my life, unless, I was like poor and had to tie the balled end back on or something, but never up here. Okay, so down on this end, it does have a cool bridge here. The strings just lock in through each of these slots, and you can lock the balled end in. Pretty cool design, honestly. So basically you get this kind of effect. Works out quite well. Okay, so I've got some micro mesh out here, and what I'm doing is just cleaning up the fret wire here. Just trying to polish off the haze that builds up on the crowns. Just from, oxygen. It will do it. I don't know if I can pick this up on camera, but where I just went over that, I can see a nice, fine, shiny line on the top of the crown. And that tells me instantly that there's some haze built up on them. So what I do is just very lightly go back and forth over them, and I try not to rub the pad on the fretboard ever. And this way I don't have to tape nothing off, and I'm not worried about scratching it. Again, this is very fine micro mesh here. So, it just takes a little more repetition, that's all, to get the polish when you use the finer stuff. Now when I get down here, I just put my fingers one over each fret wire, because I can only span two. Very light pressure, and that way I'm not scarring up the fretboard, I'm not even touching it. Then I just move down to the next two and just keep repeating. Where this is a fairly new guitar, I'm not worried about leveling the frets at all. I'm just polishing, like I said. So if you was going to work on trying to level these, you'd want to straighten the neck, obviously, and go through a whole different path. But I try to do this every time I change the strings on my guitars. If I know the frets are all good, I just put some micro mesh on, polish them up, and some fretboard conditioner right after, and then restring it, and you're good to go. It really will amaze you how much easier the strings will start to bend and feel as you keep doing this. And it keeps the guitar so it feels consistent always. So every time you change the strings, you pick it back up, it's just nice and smooth again. Okay, so we got a good polish on them now. They're nice and shiny. I'm running my fingernail across every one. I want to see if I can feel anything, any imperfection, just anything at all. If that hangs up on anything, then you got to get that straightened out. This is a brand new guitar, basically, like I said. Now, they do a good job. The fit and finish on this is done really well. It's a nice fret job, but there are a few little hiccups here and there on a couple fret wires that I just took care of. Now, it wasn't polished up like I do it. It was pretty good, but, you can take a new guitar and just run over it with some nice, really fine micro mesh like that and improve it instantly right off the shelf. So, they're not going to take specifically a long time to get that clean. They do a good job, but you can get it a little bit better is my point. And, I'm really a big believer in getting this right, because what you feel when you play the guitar is the strings and the fret wire for the most part, okay? So that needs to be right, and I like to have mine just as smooth and no hang-ups, it feels like it's been played, and everything just, slides nice, your fingers slide nice this way, the strings bend nice going up and down across the fret wire. It really just improves the feel of it, in my opinion. So I like to spend that little bit of extra time to make sure. Okay, we're gonna get some fretboard conditioner. Here we go. This stuff works quite well. I've been using this lately. Somebody give me it to try it. It's Fingerboard Remedy by Fender, Custom Shop. It's an oil. I just put a drop on each fret and just kind of rub it in. So there it is. It's just a clear oil, like I said. It's not messy or anything like that. Just kind of rub it in and cover the board and let it just kind of soak in, and it goes in really quick. Really absorbs into the wood nicely. So what I'm going to do is just put a drop on every one, and I'm going to do 2 coats. I'm certainly not endorsed by Fender's Fingerboard Remedy. I just really like the product, and I just wanted to pass that along to you guys. You know, I know there's a lot of gimmicks out there, and everything's got a name that's almost going to guarantee like speed and chops. I don't know. But this stuff works really good. Like I said, I've been using this for a while, and I think I'm going to order some more because I do like it that much. Now you can use, lemon oil, coconut oil. I've heard people using olive oil. That's really not for me, but coconut oil seems to work okay. I think lemon oil, and like I said, I'm really taking a shine to this stuff, no pun intended. It just works good, and it's not a big, greasy, messy cleanup. So that's the stuff if you want to check it out. Okay, so I let that dry for about 10 minutes. We're going back down through. We're going to hit it again, let that soak in. Boy, it really darkened it up a lot, too, I must add. And this is clear. This is not tinted or anything like that. No dyes in it. It just, it does a really nice job of darkening the fretboard up. I think that's why I like it a lot. That, it has a good eye-pleasing result. And again, it's a good product as far as the cleanup. It's not a big messy thing to wipe on your guitar, so that's always a plus. Nobody wants to perform one step and then have to do 2 more to resolve the problem of step 1. So there we go. We're going to let that soak in again. And as you can see, it's got a nice dark look to it. It's shiny right now, but it hasn't soaked in completely. But it will still have a nice kind of sheen when it dries. So I like to let it not completely dry, but pretty close, and then I just kind of wipe it off, and you're good to go. But it does enhance the wood grain a lot. Okay, so I was just wiping the headstock down, and noticed a loose tuner nut here that holds the post from the tuner. I'm checking the other ones. This is quite common on guitars that I work on. There's another one that's loose. So, this is something to check as well. 10 millimeter usually does the job. Now, you don't want these fiddle string tight, but, they should take a little bit of torque from the wrench to assure that they are tight. But it is fine thread, so don't overdo it. Just go till it feels like it's starting to get kind of snug, and that should do it. Vibration will loosen these up over time, so it is something to check. And I will say this, when these loosen up, this can emulate a string buzz or a fret buzz by having that washer and stuff rattle. It can also throw off your tuning stability instantly, so always check that. Even the screws on the ends, those can even get loose. If the tuner feels really easy to turn, you may want to just, hold the button and tighten that a little bit. 1/8 of a turn, 1/4 of a turn usually takes care of it. Alright, so there's a look at the fingerboard after the oil has dried and I've wiped it. As you can see, it lost the shiny quality that it had. It's almost back to almost a matte finish like this. But it feels really nice, really smooth. No sticky, oily feeling or anything like that. Okay, Super Slinkies it is. 9 through 42s is what we're going to put on it today. I got to get some more. I've got some 9s, 10s in here and whatnot, but that's my last thing of Slinkies. Those are good strings too, EVH. Those are 946s, which I guess Ed shifted over from 942s to 946s towards the end of his career. So you'd have heavier bass strings. And I do like those on certain guitars, especially short scale guitars. You know, and it depends on the fret wire as well. Sometimes the huge fret wire makes the strings feel just like thread. To me, they just feel too springy and too kind of soft. So we're going to go with these, and I think that'll work out just fine for this guitar. We're going to check the neck relief again when we get it strung up and see how much it did come back or if it did at all. Again, here's another shot of the tailpiece here. Pretty slick. So string goes in. It does go at a little bit of an angle, but seems like it straightens it out as soon as you get it in there. Pretty slick. It is pretty easy for the string change. Okay, so we got the strings on her here. Let's check the neck relief once again with a notch straight edge. See if I can get this on here. I think I gotta flip it over. Nope, that's not it either. Okay, here we go. So, without adjusting the truss rod at all, you can see how much difference we have in the relief here. It's almost flat. So there was that much difference just in the string tension between 10s and 9s. So I didn't really need to touch the truss rod, which I'm just going to leave it like it is. The action seems nice. I'm going to take a measurement at the 12th here and see what happens. Okay, so I just measured that at the 12th fret, and it's about 3.5, almost 4/64ths on the bass, and it's about 3.5 on the treble. So that's not bad. I'm probably going to play it like that and see what it feels like. I can always adjust this down here. The nut seems fine. I'm not sure if it was cut for 10s, but I think the 9s are going to be okay with it. We'll have to check that too, because sometimes you may have to either make a new nut or shim that one, or maybe fill in one slot here and there. So there is always a little change when you switch string gauges, but going from 10s to 9s with the amount of neck relief we had there, it turned out to be pretty beneficial as far as the setup. So I think we're going to leave it right there, and I'll go play it for a while and see how it sounds and make any more fine adjustments that I need to. But all in all, that was a pretty easy setup. Saved me a lot of time, like I said, by just a gift from the guitar gods as far as the neck relief goes. So I really appreciate you guys watching my videos. I hope you guys enjoy this kind of stuff. Let me know what you guys are using for strings, string gauges. Has anybody tried the 9.5 gauges? I'm curious. I'd like to know. I may purchase a set and just see how those feel. Some guitars feel a little too light for me with 9s, but too heavy with 10s, so I'm thinking of trying a set of those half gauges. Well, thanks again, folks. We'll see you guys real soon. Be good. Okie doke.